Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Order the courts.
3 federal judges in 3 different states are facing scandals for their activities off the bench. It's drawing new scrutiny to the system that polices wrongdoing in the courts by the people who are supposed to preside over them. NPR's Carrie Johnson has been reporting on these issues for years, and she joins us now. Hey, Carrie.
Hey, Dave.
So tell us about these 3 judges. Why are they in the spotlight?
Ryan Nelson sits on the Federal Appeals Court for the Ninth Circuit. Back in April, he got into a confrontation in a parking lot where he allegedly stomped on the eyeglasses of a fellow motorist. Judge Nelson actually got charged with misdemeanor battery, and he pleaded not guilty. The incident went unreported for months until the Idaho State Journal found some video. Last week, the chief judge of the Ninth Circuit launched an investigation. Nelson's lawyer told me he's apologized and that the episode is out of character. Now, in Michigan, Judge Thomas Ludington was in court last week. He pleaded not guilty to allegations he violated probation by not undergoing required alcohol test after a DUI charge. His lawyer says the judge is making, quote, every effort at compliance with all court orders, and current tests show he's clean and sober.
So that's 2 of the federal judges. Who's the third?
The third is Judge Eleanor Ross in Atlanta. A court investigation found she had sex in chambers with a high-ranking police official.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Within earshot of her law clerks. The investigation said she lied about it and blamed those clerks until investigators got proof otherwise. The judge agreed to apologize, and I've been reporting on these issues the past few years, and believe it or not, this is not the first time I've heard of judges having sex in their chambers, but it is the first time I've seen it in a report by a court. Gabe Roth leads Fix the Court, a group that promotes transparency. He thinks the court investigation here, which started with a tip from a clerk, let Judge Ross off too light.
The judges who have reviewed the misconduct complaint haven't fully done their jobs. They have let Judge Ross off with a slap on the wrist. They didn't even name her in the order.
So how are judges who behave badly held accountable?
You know, they can be removed from hearing cases or even stripped of staff members, but the most serious sanction is impeachment. Congress has the power to impeach federal judges and remove them from office. There have been only 15 impeachments, but 2 Republicans in Georgia, Andrew Clyde and Clay Fuller, introduced articles of impeachment against Judge Ross last week. It'll be up to the House Judiciary Committee to take it from there. Judge Ross and the court did not respond to requests for comment.
Carrie, as you know best, perhaps, there are hundreds of federal judges, so it'd be hard or unfair to say that the whole system is rotten based just on these 3 examples. But what broader point is there to make about how the judiciary polices itself, how it carries itself?
Yeah, these 3 judges were actually appointed by 3 different presidents, George W. Bush, Obama, and Trump. And experts tell me if the courts are going to police themselves, they have to do a good job of it. Mike Fragoso of the Ethics and Public Policy Center says it's important for the courts to be transparent.
The more opaque and Byzantine the process is, I think the worse it is for the perception by the courts that they're sort of handling their own affairs well.
Retired Judge Jeremy Fogel told me judges are not just an individual person anymore. They're a symbol of an entire system. And when they behave badly, it hurts the reputation of the entire judiciary.
That's NPR's Carrie Johnson. Carrie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Earrings, especially with traditional materials or complex beadwork, are emblems of contemporary indigenous fashion, connectedness, and identity. And last week, more than 60 artists showed up in Juneau to sell their jewelry at Celebration, a days-long event that uplifts survival and persistence of Southeast Alaska cultures. As KTOO's Yvonne Crumry reports, some attendees saved up for years to buy earrings for themselves and loved ones.
Dozens of stalls line the Autanane Hit Arts Plaza in Juneau, and the tables are piled with colorful beads, fur, bone, and shell jewelry, usually in sets of 2. Brittany Woods Orson is wandering the market with a couple of friends, looking over the items laid out on each table. She says buying from indigenous makers generates wealth that stays in Alaska.
You're keeping the abundance in the community, and then you start building a connection with the people you have art from.
Woods Orson is from Rampart, or Gleit Tanits, a village on the Yukon River. After traveling from Fairbanks, where she lives now, she's being thoughtful about adding to her earring collection. She says there was a time in her life where she would spend more than $400 on a piece. Now, her monthly expenses are higher, so she's buying less and choosing carefully. And she's looking for pieces for young people in her family that they can pass down.
Gifting is more important now, too. I'm like getting to my auntie age. It's time to start buying the nieces and nephews their inherited pieces.
And of course, the earrings look good. She says they can be an icebreaker for meeting other Native people outside Alaska, too.
Also, I always joke it's a bad signal for all the natives when we're traveling in big cities. Like, oh, where are you from? Where'd you buy those?
Across the plaza, Kayla McCutcheon is behind a booth covered in earrings made from hand-smith metal hoops with tiny macrame designs in bright-colored thread. Earrings on display range from $50 to more than $100. She came from Sitka, and it's her first time selling at Celebration. Making jewelry is McCutcheon's full-time job.
This is like my first Celebration market, so I don't know how this will impact kind of my year-round sales, but I would say that markets in general make up 40% of my sales, so it's a pretty big amount.
She says she started weaving micro macrame for fun, but the business is in her blood.
My mom was a jeweler growing up, and she always contributed to our household income by making art. And she was like, if you could turn this into earrings, you'll make a lot of money.
McCutcheon has been selling jewelry full-time for 7 years. She says she hired a babysitter to watch her 2-year-old daughter for about 10 hours a week so she could make as many earrings as possible in the months before Celebration. Outside of those hours, she stays up after her daughter's bedtime and weaves. She says the earring industry is huge in Southeast Alaska.
I don't think my business would be as successful as it is if I lived anywhere else in the world.
Earrings are a part of everyday life here, McCutcheon says.
You'll see somebody out on the boat in a sweatshirt and sweatpants and extra tufts wearing caribou tufted, beaded dentalium earrings or big bougie dangly raven tail.
And all over the market, shoppers are carefully picking through stalls, noting which they plan to come back to. Alaska Scaffoldstead holds up a bold pair of earrings to her ears. They're long, white ermine pelts with chains and shells sewn in. She talks with the artist and seller Diamond Williams, who explains the cultural significance of the ermine, a small mammal with a camouflage coat.
Back in the day, our warriors used to wear it on their armor, and they had a significance of disappearing and
I might just disappear into the night.
Now you kind of wear them as a statement piece.
Yeah, very much so. They're beautiful.
Williams is from Juneau, but lives in Anchorage. She travels across the western United States selling earrings at native markets. She says she needs to earn at least a couple $1,000s to make the trip to Celebration pay off financially. Her customer, Scaffoldstead, came to Celebration from Hoonah. She says she couldn't make it last time, so she had more time to save money to spend at the market.
Happy I can finally make it. Brought all my money.
She bought the ermine earrings for herself, which cost $250. But she wasn't done shopping. She wanted to buy gifts for family members too.
It's very sentimental when you buy something that's handmade and then from a local artist that it's their living, and then you get to share it with your friend.
Williams said she earned enough on the first day of Celebration alone to make the trip to Juneau from Anchorage worth it. In Juneau, I'm Yvonne Crumry.
From Grand Rapids, Michigan.
And tonight we're learning that 2 of the police chief candidates are involved in 2 separate discrimination lawsuits. 13 on your side's Lauren Baker joins us now from the newsroom with details on that.
Yeah, Juliet, today I looked into those lawsuits to find out how each of those candidates were involved. As the quest for the next chief of police of Grand Rapids continues, new details are emerging about 2 of the finalists. Detroit Police Deputy Chief Mark Bliss was involved in a racial discrimination lawsuit. In the suit, Bliss was accused of not reporting an incident where an officer, Johnny Strickland, a black officer, was handcuffed by fellow officers, not realizing he too was an officer during a situation where police were responding to an explosive device. Court documents allege that when Bliss arrived on scene, he instructed the officers to unhandcuff Strickland and told Strickland that knowledge of the incident would not be told, and if Strickland said anything, quote, there would be consequences. Strickland filed a complaint, eventually sued the city of Detroit and several officers, including Bliss, for a hostile environment and retaliation. That case was first dismissed, then appealed, and ruled in favor of Strickland. Shifting to Eve Stevens, she's currently suing the University of Texas system and the University of Texas at Austin for alleged discrimination. A lawsuit claims 14 months into her role as university chief of police, the first Asian American woman in the role, she was fired without cause. weeks after she received a positive performance review and merit raise. The lawsuit claims she was openly criticized by the vice president for the Office of Legal Affairs, which is who the police department reported to. The lawsuit goes on to say that during a Zoom meeting, Stevens was notified that she was going to be terminated and was given the option to either accept her termination, resign, or take a temporary role at the university. She took the latter. The UT system has filed a motion to dismiss Stevens' lawsuit, claiming that Stevens improperly named it as a defendant, saying that the school system did not have control over her employment. That lawsuit remains ongoing.
And as soon as we learn the outcome of that case, we'll be sure to let you know. In the newsroom, Lauren Baker, 13, on your side.
All the way to HR, and they said they handled it, but clearly didn't.
Only on 8, a workplace shooting that never should have happened.
2 Las Vegas city maintenance workers police say were involved in last Friday's workplace shooting that left one of them dead, allegedly tried transferring to different locations.
That's according to 2 other city maintenance workers who say management denied their request to transfer. 8 News Now reporter Aaron Ariano joins us in the newsroom after speaking with the 2 employees, only on 8, who says this shooting was preventable.
That's right. The city of Las Vegas revealing the name of the victim today, maintenance worker Joey McLean, who police say was killed by his own coworker Bryson Kim. 2 longtime city maintenance workers who agreed to speak with me on the condition they remain anonymous say inaction from management led up to the shooting.
I think I was one of the first people that he got to work with. I mean, he was a pretty hard worker.
This city employee tells me Joey McLean was in a feud with his coworker Bryson Kim that spanned back several months.
Bryson said Joey followed him home one time. I don't know. I know it got to HR because HR said that they had dealt with it.
It's not known what started the feud, but they say it came to blows Friday morning when they both got into a fight after clocking into work, after which Kim allegedly shot and killed McLean in the workplace.
They hated each other. They wouldn't talk to each other. It was bad.
The Monday before Friday's shooting, McLean and Kim got into another major confrontation.
As these 2 were leaving work, they were verbally going at it again, and to the point where they swerved their vehicles into each other. They didn't hit each other, but they did that.
They say management knew of this incident, but both men were allowed to go back to work.
It was a huge failure on their part to listen to the employees, to listen to their demands, to try to resolve and de-escalate the situation. And because of that failure, now I have a coworker that is deceased.
The employees tell me both men requested to transfer to different stations multiple times.
They had every legal right, to remove one or the other or both from the situation. There's other positions open with the city that they could have happily worked.
This should have never happened. And Bryson was a good guy that got pushed to his limits. And Joey was a good person with a family, a young family, and it didn't have to happen. None of this had to happen.
Late this afternoon, I reached out to the city of Las Vegas asking for a response to these claims that management allegedly knew about the volatility between the 2 and denied the requests to transfer. I was referred to Mayor Shelley Berkeley's statement, which can be read on our website, 8newsnow.com. Reporting live in the newsroom, Aaron Ariano, 8 News Now.
Bryson Kim's next court appearance is scheduled for tomorrow morning.
What's probably more at play is an inability to regulate emotions in the heat of intense interpersonal conflict.
More than 3 dozen homicides have been reported across our valley so far this year. Many of them have stemmed from verbal altercations. News 3's George Acosta live here in studio after speaking with a behavioral health expert who's weighing in on what factors can play a role in escalating or de-escalating these types of incidents. George?
Yeah, Marie, just in the month of June, Las Vegas Metro Police have responded to a handful of homicides with initial reports showing the murders stemmed from domestic disputes as well as physical and verbal altercations. However, this behavioral health expert says that there is no single explanation for what may drive someone to such extreme measures.
When I look at the kinds of information available about the various homicides that have happened in the last few days, the consistent theme seems to be interpersonal conflict that has either flared up or continued, combined with the immediate accessibility of a weapon.
Most up-to-date data from Metro Police shows as of June 7th, LVMPD detectives have responded to 41 murders across the valley, a 5% increase when compared to the 39 homicides reported at the same time last year.
The thing that seems to separate these kinds of homicides from shouting matches or other kinds of things is the immediate presence and availability of a firearm. And so it becomes very easy when people have these high levels of negative emotion directed at someone else that they're wanting to stop, to use a firearm to stop that negative emotion in the immediate moment.
Since that June 7th date, LVMPD has reported an additional 3 homicides. On June 9th, a father-son argument near Sahara and Eastern escalated to where police say a 22-year-old man produced a firearm, fatally shooting his father during that argument. On June 12th, Las Vegas police responded to reports of a 31-year-old man now identified as Bryson Kim, who stated he had just shot his City of Las Vegas co-worker, Joey McLean, over a long-time dispute. And most recently on Saturday, June 14th, Las Vegas Metro Police responded to what was initially reported as a domestic disturbance in the east part of the valley. However, a second call was later reported of a man found to have been suffering from a gunshot wound. That man was later pronounced dead at the scene.
So what seems to happen from what I've been able to piece together is that people have an excessive amount of what we would call frustrated approach processing. That is, they want to resolve something, they want it to get better, and they're frustrated in their ability to do it. They feel like they're trying to approach the other person, and it just isn't stopping the negative emotions that they're feeling.
What Benning says one can do to mitigate a conflict or hopefully better de-escalate it is to check in with one's emotions, but also says listening is key.
And so rather than taking that immediate action, they may need to have practice taking those steps back, being able to disengage, and when they're in the moment, taking deeper breaths, being able to help someone else brainstorm possibilities and alternative explanations for behavior is a powerful tool to reducing someone's likelihood of interpreting someone else as so wrong and so bad that there's no chance to resolve things except for being violent.
Now, Benning also says societal and environmental factors can play a role in escalating these instances, but says cognitive behavioral or anger management therapy can help address these circumstances more effectively. But for now, reporting in studio, George Acosta, News 3.
And as we hear the professor say, just take a deep breath, step away. All right, George, thank you.
Up first at 5, brand new details about the chaotic moments after gunfire erupted inside Wilmington Hospital. I'm Siafa Lewis in for Yuki Washington.
And I'm Natasha Brown. We are now hearing the emergency dispatch alerting first responders to a hostile mass casualty incident at the hospital.
Attention all units to Wilmington Hospital, 501 West 14th Street for a hostile MCI. Engine 1, Engine 5, Ladder 1, Battalion 2, Battalion 1, Battalion 5 is responding. Attention all units to Wilmington Hospital, 501 West 14th Street for a hostile MCI.
And this is who police say was behind it. His name is John Wallace Bay. The 23-year-old now faces a lengthy list of serious charges, including murder.
Our team has been working this story all day long. Ryan Hughes is learning more about the victims in this incident. But we begin with the latest on the investigation. And Madeline Wright was the first of our reporters on the scene yesterday, and she leads us off tonight. Madeline.
Siafa, staff members here at Wilmington Hospital are still shaken up. Christianacare confirms that the suspect and the 2 employees who were shot were all co-workers here at the hospital. Police identified 23-year-old John Wallace Bay as the employee who shot 2 co-workers, killing one at Wilmington Hospital Tuesday afternoon. John Richardson says he lives next door to the suspect in this quiet neighborhood in Newcastle.
I'm complete shock, like, when you talk about happening close to home, literally next door.
The hospital went on lockdown as SWAT teams went door to door searching for the gunman. Richardson's wife says she never could have imagined her neighbor would be at the center of it all.
He seemed quiet to himself. Yeah, nothing out of
the ordinary where we would expect something like this.
Richardson provided this doorbell video showing unmarked police cars in the neighborhood, but detectives didn't find the suspect at his house. After a 6-hour manhunt, he was arrested in Philadelphia's Olney section. Wallace Bay is now charged with murder, attempted murder, possession of a firearm, and carrying a concealed deadly weapon.
It's really hard to understand the reasoning why.
According to Wallace Bay's LinkedIn profile, he worked in IT at Christianacare with an interest in coding. Police haven't discussed a motive for the shooting, but Wilmington Council President Trippy Congo says workplace violence is a growing problem.
I think we have to take a holistic look on how we are raising our younger generation.
Neighbors are praying for the victims.
It's just an unfortunate situation. Both families impacted, the victim and the shooter as well.
At last check, Wallace Bay was still in Pennsylvania waiting to be extradited back to Delaware to face charges. Live in Wilmington, Madeline Wright, CBS News, Philadelphia. Back to you.
Madeline, thank you very much. Time now to bring in CBS Philadelphia's Ryan Hughes.
And Ryan, we understand you're learning more about the victims here in this case.
Yeah, guys, good evening to you. We learned today from police both of those shooting victims are only 19 years old. One young man died from his injuries. Police are saying that second young man is in critical but stable condition. The hospital confirms they were both employees here, but tonight their names are still not being released. And today we spent several hours speaking with doctors, nurses, and other employees who were at the hospital at the time of the shooting. Many returned to work this morning, and they described the mood around the building as somber yet supportive. The shooting not only triggered a big response, it also sent fear throughout the hospital. One nurse tells me she was locked inside an exam room as the building was on lockdown and as investigators searched for the shooter. I spoke with one employee who did not want to be identified. She says she is thinking about the victims and their families, of course, and she came back to work today knowing her patients needed her.
It's sadness, but, you know, our patients are still coming in. We're still supporting. We have support, you know, from upper leadership and everything. So that makes everything a little ease, and that they caught him.
And the nurses and doctors that I spoke with today, they describe that support. They tell us a number of resources have been made available to them, including counseling services. We're told that will continue here over the next few days. We are live tonight in Wilmington. Ryan Hughes, CBS News, Philadelphia.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much for the update there. Well, as new details do emerge, stay with CBS News Philadelphia. When we're not on television, you can always get the latest online anytime at cbsphiladelphia.com.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Marie Mortera. Metro Police currently on the scene of a deadly shooting in the Northwest Valley at a busy shopping center. Our George Acosta is there at the scene near Rainbow and Lake Mead. George, what do we know?
Yeah, Marie, right now, preliminary details of the investigation have revealed that Metro Police were called to the area here around 4:36 this afternoon. Now, a lot of this incident seems to be centralized at the Five Below just behind me. Now, we have received reports that there was a shooting inside of the business. Now, some of the nearby shoppers tell me that they believe that a customer inside of the Five Below shot an employee. Now, we are still waiting to confirm those details from Metro Police, who are expected to hold a briefing any moment now. But in the meantime, I do have a shopper here with me who tells me that she was actually on her way to the Five Below when she kind of saw people running. Kind of tell me a little bit about kind of what you witnessed.
So at the time, me and my sister was in Bath and Body Works, and we were in line, and we were purchasing our stuff, and we heard the sirens, but we were just thinking that, someone else, was stealing or whatever. And I had told her while we were in line that we were going to go to Five and Below to get some accessories, and it just so happened when we came out, we seen all the yellow tape that occurred, and we just missed it by, I don't know if it was minutes or seconds, but we just missed being in the situation that occurred here.
And you were telling me that you heard people crying, possibly family members?
Yeah, so in the process of us walking to Five and Below, we decided just to go in Burlington to continue our shopping. As we were entering the Burlington, we seen a couple of African American people that could have been part of the family that were very upset, very much crying and very just like, not normal. So So that's it.
Yeah, and then kind of right now, Marie, we are still waiting to hear details from Metro Police. But right now, we are hearing that some of these stores here, PetSmart as well as Burlington, have been closed for business for the rest of the business hours. But again, we're still waiting to hear back from Metro Police on when exactly that briefing is going to take place. And again, the extent of people's injuries, how many people were involved, and again, if anyone has been pronounced dead here at the scene. But as soon as we learn more, we're going to bring it back to you on air and online. But for now, reporting live from the Best in the West Shopping Center, Georgia Costa News 3.
We're looking forward to hearing more on that shooting, George, that really has left so many people terrified and feeling, of course, understandably so upset tonight. Thank you for that live report, and we will keep in touch.
See, white people don't get fired. They get transferred.
All right, to other news now. An ex-SAPD officer fired for giving an unhoused man a feces sandwich is now the chief of a South Texas police department. Records show Matthew Luckhurst was promoted to be the chief of the Benavides Police Department back on June 1st. Benavides City Council approved that move back in April.
KSAT Investigates has followed Luckhurst's career since SAPD fired him a decade ago. Luckhurst started working for Benavides PD in 2023 after he was fired from Floresville PD the year before. He was fired from that agency after the city was flooded with emails about Luckhurst's position on the force.
Even if you feed someone excrement, you can still not just get a job as an enforcement officer, you can be the chief. Transferred indeed. The worthless Negro from Virginia. I bet if I had given someone a non-feces sandwich, falafel, hummus, all veggies, peanut butter and jelly. I don't know, Gus T. We don't. And we might hire you. I don't know. It says you was out giving out peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to them homeless folks in the park, and you ain't got no license. We don't look kindly to giving out peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with no license. Like, man, woo! Context of white supremacy. Seem like that might be delectable. Negro. What kind of person is that? You see somebody out they want to try and, he was unhoused, residentially challenged, put some dignity on it, they say. So they see this old homeless hobo person, riffraff, and as opposed to, you need a quarter, Snicker bar, bottle of water, a Bible, Narcan. Let me see where would you get feet? Did he go find like a dog? Did he go to the restroom? Let me find out. Was this a white homeless person? Was this a non-white homeless person? What does it mean to be white? Context of white supremacy. Is this Juneteenth Eve? Is that what this is? Thursday, June 18, 2026. So I have been told. Our weekly broadcast, Neutralizing Workplace Racism. Hopefully we did not have any non-white people classified as black, have to endure any tackiness this week. Y'all gonna go and beat the drums and do your celebrations tomorrow? Need an extra ham hock? Not shocked if you heard anything of that nature, but hopefully no one had to endure that. I know sometimes they'll do tacky celebrate. I think in Wisconsin they raised I didn't even know that there was such a thing as a Juneteenth flag. I don't celebrate. I'm ignorant. But apparently they raised this in Wisconsin this week over the state capitol. When I was there this time last year, I do not remember seeing that flag. I remember seeing the rainbow. Maybe I wasn't attentive enough. Anywho, I wouldn't celebrate in the workplace, even if you are doing it up big time on Friday for Juneteenth. I would let your colleagues, coworkers know, white or non-white, white or non-white, celebrate on your personal time. If anyone has anything insulting to say about all of, or even if they ask, whatever, I don't know. What is Juneteenth? And that's it. You don't have anything to say about that. I've never heard where anybody got a raise, a promotion, a bigger office as a result of giving an extemporaneous 3-minute report on Juneteenth or organizing an office celebration for Juneteenth. I've never heard of either resulting in a bonus. Fast forward through all that. If you get the day off, whoopee, even better. Do something constructive, and with still waiting on the late insult on Monday, because they might come in and zingo, you all get to go out and do Mad Dog and celebrate Negro Day Friday. You knew that was coming. Let's see. Before we get to the report, certainly not for spectators. If we have any folks, if you have suggestions, certainly if you have figured out how to get those promotions, raises, bigger office, get home in one piece. They don't have no gunfire, and really, the way things are going, if you get through your shift and it's no gunfire, no one needs a nurse, stitches, medical attention, ICU, well, I just said you're not supposed to do the acronyms, intensive care unit. Man, you might need to be on speed dial. How did you do this? Safety is number one. And apparently, even at the hospital, we are ready to brawl, shoot out, the jewelry store. It doesn't matter. We are ready to get down. If you have figured out safety in the workplace, de-escalation in the workplace, conflict resolution in the workplace, massively important right now, and weapons, firearms in the workplace. That is a massive one. I keep saying, ask, do you have a job where you can bring legally a firearm to work? Do you know if people are bringing firearms on your job? That would massively change things. Massively. You think it's not saying a whole lot? We're not talking about anything not related to the job before. That is definitely the case now. I wouldn't care if we both are the biggest Knicks fans in the world. I'm not saying nothing about nothing but the job. Not asking about your children. I'm not asking about no birthday, side piece, vehicle, college, summer vacation, winter vacation, in-law. Nothing. Job. That's it. That's it. If you have figured out how to minimize some of these dangers in the workplace, get back to your residence with all of your fingers and toes intact. No bandages needed. Speed dial. Our number, 720-716-7300. The code, 564-943#. Press star 61. If you would like to participate, certainly. If you're having problems in your workplace, if you are about to strangle someone, you feel like you need to get a firearm to shoot someone, if you feel like you are about to be the one that's going to be shot, immediately dial in 720-716-7300, the code 564-943#. 943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. This, I would say, is massively serious because it seems like an escalating problem, and I don't see any evidence that it's getting any better or even that it's being adequately addressed. This, just from checking the news, this has been swelling for about a good year. When they started all those firings last year and the government shut down, having more and more, even building from COVID, but more and more instability in the workplace, white people practicing white supremacy racism, but inflation and everything else, gas prices, all of that adding up, man, it is a volatile situation on the job. If you find any resources that are helpful for safety, any techniques, share. Even be proactive in asking for trainings and sharing reports about some of these events with HR on your job. Training. Let's be proactive to prevent these sorts of tragedies. What can we do to improve safety? I love that S word for the workplace. Safety. We want to make sure that we have a safe work environment. Can't be emphasized enough. The reports that we heard, which were mostly about violence, before we got to all of that, they talked about the behavior of the different federal judges and all of this misconduct, and then they're still on the bench. They had Judge Nelson, who reportedly stomped on a person's pair of glasses in the parking lot, eyeglasses. They had Michigan Judge Ludington, who had all of these alcohol violations. Sobriety would be best, even though they said he's testing clean now. And Judge Eleanor Ross in Atlanta, who is accused of having some sort of sexual activity with a high-ranking enforcement official in her chambers, the courthouse chambers. The enforcement official, allegedly deputy chief of the Atlanta Police Department, Kelly Collier, black male, privileged. Unless I've been misinformed, Judge Nelson, Judge Ludington are both white. Judge Eleanor Ross, black female, if that means anything. Apparently all of these folks are still on the bench. They're talking about, I think for most other jobs, like if you worked at Hardee's and they caught you having sexual intercourse next to the Chicken McNuggets, you're probably not going to keep your job. I'm going to even guess the Amazon warehouse, you're probably not going to keep your job. Just saying. That's probably a limited number of jobs that you can have where you get caught having sex at work by your colleagues and you're not going to be fired. Just saying. The report, incidentally, I cannot, this would be another reason why I say no sexual activity in the workplace. Man, I've just seen so many different incidents, and I think this might be an affair too, like one of these folks, or maybe both of them, talking about Judge Ross and Deputy Chief Collier. One or both of these folks may be married, so this is problems on top of problems. Let's keep all that hanky-panky to a minimum, really eliminate it in the workplace, because I've just seen so many different scenarios where it ends really bad, not just might break up a family or marriage, might end a career. You can't work at Hardee's no more. That type of thing. Let's see. And even really, when we get to the workplace violence, sometimes it's connected to Area 8. Brawl between people who are in some sort of sexual activity and they have some sort of conflict and they come to work to finish it off or have the shootout or whatever it is, or finding out that you're having an affair with someone at work, and then, the husband or spouse has to come to the job to have all of that stuff. Let all of that go. It's not even worth it. Let's see. They had the report about non-white females, so-called indigenous, and their entrepreneurial efforts in Alaska with the earrings, some aspect of working against racism. I reckon they could have, might even have something like that operating in different areas with Juneteenth. I know when I was in Milwaukee, they were having different parades and all that, and street festivals and vendors set up with earrings, food, all that sort of thing. So they might have that going on, or I suspect that they will have that going on in lots of different locales tomorrow across the continent. Might even tie in with the World Cup, places like here. And I think, where is it? Dallas, where they're having the World Cup, New York City, some of the other cities, Boston, where they can kind of weave that in together and get some of the folks from different parts of the world. Juneteenth, we'll support that. They did have the niggers enslaved here. Yes. The report with the Grand Rapids candidates for the enforcement position. So they had the white candidate, Mark Bliss, white male suspected racist, and they said both of these candidates have different lawsuits regarding racism. They said discrimination, but racism. So Mark Bliss, candidate in Grand Rapids for police chief, they said that he had this lawsuit where he shows up on the scene and there is a black male, Mr. Strickland, who is handcuffed, and they think he's a suspect, but Mr. Strickland is a police officer. They say Mark Bliss, the candidate, white man, shows up, and oh my goodness, we've handcuffed wrong. He's just an officer nigger. This is not a criminal nigger. So they unhandcuff Mr. Strickland, or Officer Strickland. They say, now look here. Yeah, we cuffed you up, and all you niggers look alike, but don't you say a word, but snitch if you want to. And he ended up filing a lawsuit against them, and he ended up winning on appeal and got, however much money that he got, Mr. Strickland. But dang, I said that before. Correct intentions. I said that when I mentioned the feces sandwich. Is that correct intentions? You all have handcuffed a fellow brother in blue. Isn't that what they say? He got the shield just like, and that's not even the first time that I've heard of a case like this where a black male police officer, and I don't know how you want to take it, but unfortunately, all of the cases that I'm aware of where a black police officer has been mistaken for a common Negro thug, it's been a black male. Privileged. They even got books about that. We had suspected racist Dick Lair, last name is spelled Lehr. He wrote a whole book about this exact thing happening in Boston. I just mentioned they got the World Cup up in Boston. Folks can get a signed copy of that book while they're visiting for the World Cup up in Beantown. But he wrote a whole book about a black male police officer up in Boston. Same thing, except he didn't just get handcuffed. They beat him almost to death. And then oh my gosh, he's one of us. Dang. And then the same thing, terrorized him afterwards. You snitch, you don't help. Keep your mouth shut. They didn't already beat it. Anyway, that's in the archives. You can go back. Dick Lair, go back and check. But there's many times that has happened. That would be a whole nother episode of workplace racism. Black male police officers where either they didn't see the badge. I think some of these where I've heard where they were on their off day, and so they didn't have their uniform on, and just get my nigger knocker. Oh, is that you, Craig? Oh man, I was ready to crack your skull. Darn, you need to keep your badge on. I've heard that one. I've heard a few of those where we were out chasing somebody and it was dark, and maybe we saw the badge, maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't want Craig on the force to begin with. Whatever. I've heard a bunch of those. Anyway, Mr. Bliss shows up, and you better not tell Strickland. And so he doesn't get fired, of course, and now he's moved right on up the ladder and might be the next chief of the Grand Rapids Police Department. Wow. The other candidate, non-white female, so-called Asian, non-white, non-black female, Eve Stevens, they said that she was the head of the police department for the University of Austin at Texas, which is a massive campus. So she's working there, and they said that they fired her after she had just gotten a sparkling performance review and you were doing an amazing job and keeping all these students safe. We're not having all these pranks and crazy incidents down here at Texas and great. And then, pow, out of here. Well, I guess they gave her conditions. You could take a temporary position at the university if you want to. And she filed a suit alleging that this is racial discrimination because she was fired without justification. In fact, she had been doing a great job. Why are you letting me go? And we'll see what happens with the suit. But they got two. Now she's saying that she was a victim of racism, and it's, at least in my view, the white male candidate here, Mark Bliss, he would be. That's practice of racism, right? You participate in a black male being mistreated, a black male coworker being mistreated, and then you further terrorize him by telling him he had better not say anything about this. That if that is true, that should automatically disqualify. He should have been fired from that job. Oh, is it right? They get transferred. White people don't get fired; they get promoted. Like Fuller, he undersold that one a little bit. It ain't just that they get to stay. Like, no. You get promoted, man. You move right on up the ladder. Let's see. Okay, now we start getting into the violence reports. There were so many of them. Listeners even pitched in and found a number of these because there have been so many of them. Like I said, I don't go and look like, hey, man, were there incidents of black people out shooting black people? And I don't do all that. I really don't. I just go and just check the news. What's happening? Workplace? Okay, boom, boom, boom. And then other people, like I said, they have been finding reports, but I mean, it's been an avalanche of them. If you check the news at all, you would be noticing. So the first one that we heard about, the situation with the Las Vegas city employees out in Nevada. I'm no fan of the desert. So that one, they didn't give the racial demographics, but additional reports. Listeners shared information on this one. Additional information for the Las Vegas city employee incident. This one involved a black male, or non-white male, non-white male is the alleged shooter, and a white man is the alleged victim. So Bryson Kim, first name is odd spelling, Brysen, Kim, non-white male. I don't think he's black, but I mean, I'd have to see the arrest report to see if they put his racial classification down, but I don't think he'd be accepted as white. The victim who was shot and killed, Joey McLean, I do think he is a white man. I'd have to look at the victim incident report to see if his racial classification is identified. People can look and let me know if they think, different rate, if I got it wrong maybe, but that's what I think. Shooter in this case is a non-white male. Victim is a white man, which is one of the rare in all the different cases of workplace violence that we've been talking about here at the C.O.W.S for about the past year. I think this might be the first time in that 12-month period, not that I haven't seen others, but in that 12-month period, I think this is the first time that I've seen, we've talked about a case of a non-white male or non-white person, period, workplace violence against a white person. And even when you dig into the details of this case, oh man, they said this had been going on for months, that both parties, Mr. Kim, the non-white male, and Mr. McLean, the victim who was shot and killed, that they both had requested to be transferred, that Mr. Kim had made all these reports that McLean had followed him home. McLean had accused him of being a gangster. McLean had accused him of being on steroids. Like, they didn't even give all the details in that report. Like some of the other articles about this case, they give so much more detail about this had been going on and on and on. Mr. Kim, that's the non-white male, he had accused the white man not only of following him home, which that right there, like, wait a minute, followed you home? That is straight stalker behavior. We talked about that before. We had the young lady who said her white male coworker was leaving notes on her car. We thought the same thing. He's following you home. What is up with that? Why are you following someone home? That right there should be a one-time, especially in this environment, that should be a one-time occurrence. Either you are going to be terminated, the major changes are going to have to be made if you are following a coworker home. What is the constructive result from that? They said, and then they said days before this shooting that the two had a verbal altercation in the parking lot and swerved their vehicles at each other. Again, this, what in the world? The people, that's what I mean. Safety in the workplace. That the system of white supremacy is unsafe. Period. You got niggers on a slave ship, that is unsafe. You're whipping niggers on a plantation, you're sodomite feeding feces to victims. Nothing about this is safe. Nothing. The workplace is just, hey, we at least gonna pretend for 8 hours a day that we're about safety. Wink, wink. You really, in some environments, have to be. I mean, what the hell? They're swerving vehicles at each other in the parking lot. Could somebody else have been hit? What if they had lost control and hit another vehicle? What if they got, I don't know if they got employee vehicles for the city of Las Vegas. Most major cities that I'm aware of, city of Seattle, city of New York, they have city vehicles. What if they had swerved and hit a city vehicle or some city property? Come on, man. You know, reckless driving in the parking lot. Many places that I'm aware of, they have rules about that. You're not supposed to be driving recklessly in the parking lot, on company property, company vehicles. None of the above. None of the above. How is that allowed? They don't have cameras in the parking lot? How is that? Hey, at some point it might even be, hey, this is more trouble than it's even worth. You're both fired. Or you're both relocated. They said they had other positions that were open. Las Vegas is kind of a large, desert, dusty, no-count city. They could have moved both of them to different locations. And we move on. Now you don't have to see each other. We don't have to hear all this every day. Why would this be allowed to go on for all that time? And then we get to this point, people being accused of following folks home and swerving. We're going to have a demolition derby in the parking lot. And now we get to this point. And I did say this is in the desert. I guess you cannot discount. Once that temperature starts to turn, I have to see what's the temperature in Vegas today. Let's see. Let's see. 104. Jesus God. Are you serious? Oh my God. I could fall out and die. For people that are outside the USA, I know we have don't have the metrics. So that would be 40 C. 104 F in Las Vegas right now. Are you, man, and it is late in the day. This is, so right now the temperature in Vegas, it's 5 p.m. 104 at 5 p.m. I think white people have compiled a lot of studies that have shown some of that violence and people not having as much patience, and I got to strangle you as that temperature starts to go up. So if they already had massive conflict for 6 months, you start hitting that peak summertime heat, and you're going out there and it's 100 degrees all day long in Vegas. Oh yeah. I'm going to have zero patience. You got one thing to say. And that's what happened apparently today. He went in. I think this was really bad. Like he went in, they had the violent confrontation. The black male non-white male is accused of stomping this white man on the head. Employees intervened. He pulled out his pistol and shot him after he's already accused of having stomped on his skull. I mean, man. Now, again, this had gone on for 6 months. This white man, suspected racist, is even accused of sabotaging this non-white male's vehicle, where he would do something to the cab of the truck, and the door, I guess, that would close on the back of it would fall open or whatever. He was accused of doing something to tamper with his vehicle. But all of this being allowed to go on where this white man is not punished or they're not separated, like there should be a lawsuit against the city of Las Vegas for the way that they did not handle this, because this is so irresponsible to let all of this go on for 6 months. And then you have this. Lawyer up. Let's see the report. And I would say for a non-white person in a situation of that nature, man, it should not get to, that's what I said too, because he pulled out a firearm. Are we allowed to have firearms on the job? That would be a big one. And I think it is very important for non-white people we should already be thinking it should not get to this point. It should not be where I'm on a job where there is mortal combat that is brewing for 6 months. That is not acceptable. In that time period, resume should be updated. If they're not going to do anything about this, I might have to exit. And it should be like written down. There's a certain threshold where I'm going to have to leave this job. We've talked about that before, where they have different types of termination if you want to pursue a lawsuit or whatever it is, or even if you don't want to pursue all of that, but just this is no longer worth it. It's not even going to allow me to take care of my family. Mr. Kim, the black male who's been arrested, paychecks have stopped now. There has to be a certain threshold where it's, hey, this is more than it is worth. There's going to be racism on every job. You should not be in mortal combat on every job. And especially if the white people that you work with are not responsive at all, and they're just going to allow all this to play out. I mean, come on. Let's see. The report also in Las Vegas, they had the section, the shooting at the shopping center where an employee at Five Below was shot and killed. That was a black male shot and killed by a so-called Hispanic male. Don't know if this was a white person that speaks Spanish or what, but they said it was a black male shot and killed. They said the person allegedly came into the establishment Five Below. They had some sort of verbal altercation, and then the person pulled out a gun, shot the black male employee who's not been identified at this point. I don't have enough information about this one to know, how did they know each other? What was the reason for all of this? I have already said there are a number of different disputes that end up spilling over into the workplace that started because we knew each other from wherever. We knew each other from school. We have some sort of situation around sexual activity. You said something to my female, or you tried to encroach on my female, or whatever the case may be, or whatever it is, that sort of thing. And now I know where you work at, so I'm gonna come up here and settle it because I know you're in a fixed location for a certain amount of time, 4 or 5 days a week, or whatever it is. I can only say really try as best that we can to minimize, I guess in this day and age, try to minimize conflict as best you can, especially in the workplace. Like I said, I don't even know the details about, how did they know each other? Apparently it seems like they knew each other, what the reasoning for all of this is, but man, try as best you can to minimize conflict. Apparently even in your personal life, because it seems so common now for that to end up coming back into the workplace. I think we've heard about a number of these shootings where people had some sort of personal disagreement or dispute, and then that they ended up bringing it into the workplace. So, man, and that's another one where I say not talking about things, only talking about the job. Again, we'll have to get more details about what happened with this Five Below shooting, but only talking about the job, really doing as much as we can to minimize conflict in the workplace. Let's see. Third incident of violence, and all of these happened from the time that we aired last week. This is 3 different reports. Third incident, I think I actually did look to see if there were any incidents of black people committing violence to find this, because I had already got 2 from Las Vegas, and then they had the report about, wow, it's been so much violence happening in Nevada specifically, and what's going on? And so I looked, I said, man, did I miss any? Are there any other incidents? The darn bot said, yes, you did miss some. That shooting in Wilmington, Delaware, the shooter, 23-year-old black male, John Wallace Bay, confirmed that he shot and killed one person, a 19-year-old. Now, I don't know if that was a black person, white person. I don't know. When they went to speak to employees at the hospital, everyone that they spoke to, unless I'm mistaken, in the different reports that I've seen, classified as black, like not even close. Darker than President Obama, and they spoke to a number of different employees. all of the folks that I've seen have been black. I'm sure that, they do have some white people who work at Wilmington Hospital in Delaware, but apparently a good number of black people work at this facility. And even when they showed some of the harrowing videos of people running out with their hands up, even the immediacy of the shooting, it was a lot of black people running out then too. So I don't know the demographics of the specific region of Delaware, but it looks like could be a significant number of black people, and the shooter was black, so it would not surprise me because he's accused of John Wallace Bay, 23. He is accused of having gone back to the hospital, and specifically he was let go from the intern program that he was a part of at this hospital earlier in the week. And so after they terminated him from the program, he came back and he's accused of shooting 2 people that were in that program that he was a part of. So I don't know. They haven't released the identity of the person, the 19-year-old victim in this case. But if I had to wager, my suspicion is that he might have shot another black person. That's just total theory, just based on some of the evidence that I've seen. But that is not confirmed at all. I could be 1,000% wrong. I will update when they give out the information, I guess as soon as they, have alerted the family and all of that, and they'll make that information public. But yeah, that all I can say, same thing, safety, because that is almost cliche at this point, where you have someone who gets terminated. Even we had the report last week where the person they didn't get fired, they just didn't get the promotion that they wanted at McAllister's in Missouri, and that resulted in a choking. So same thing with companies having to do a lot more with regards to safeguarding their employees. When you fire someone, terminate someone, that might even be something you as an employee, that's why I say there's so much other things to focus on. We really don't have time to be, hey, you've been keeping up at the World Cup, you're going to go to any of the games, blah, blah, blah. We really got so many other important priorities, replacing white supremacy with justice, and then our own personal safety within all that, because we're victims of racism. Safety. You find out somebody got fired in the workplace, you should be scanning your employee notes. You should be scanning your memory. Uh-oh. Does this person have a firearm? Does this person, let me think about this person. They seem like they might come in here and shoot up the place. Not that that matters, because there's a whole lot. I think what they were saying about Mr. Bay here, he was so quiet. I think he came in and did his job, and then he was never ranting and upset, cursing everybody out and all that. So, one, I would be thinking of that. Were there any signs, what they call red flags? Do I remember any of those? And then even if you don't, it might still be a good idea to go and ask, do we have any security measures in place? I know such and such was let go. Might come back and be upset. I know we've had a lot of incidents of that of late. Do we have, any safeguards just to make sure, and be alert, be mindful if he's going to be back on the premises, might be upset, that sort of thing. Might be something to inquire about. HR, human resources, just to see, hey, make sure we at least got a plan or a thought together about what to do, just in case. We had the person, I remember they dialed in a while back, black male, terminated. And they said this person was sitting out in the parking lot. And I said, oh man, that is dangerous. I said, if that had been a white person, I would have probably called the police immediately and notified HR, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, ooh-wee. They doing recon? Are you waiting for somebody to come outside so you can open fire, run them over with the vehicle? Because they got that too. That just happened this year. Black male accused, he was terminated from his job and ran over one of his former co-workers within a few days of him losing his job. So take that seriously. Someone gets terminated, maybe even if they don't get terminated, like I said, if they, it's a job opening and they don't get it, that might be one. Make a mental note of that now. Did this person seem really angry about it? Does this person seem like they have a history of a temper where they get angry and are yelling at people, being unprofessional? I can't emphasize that enough. Firearms in this environment, it's almost mandatory to ask, are we permitted to have firearms? Is that in the handbook? Do we have a policy about that? If you, have your concealed carry permit, are you allowed to just bring a firearm to work? If you hunt, can you have your rifle in your car outside? Like, what is the policy on employees and firearms? Like that's almost something you want to know, like day one, maybe before you take the job. What sort of environment am I walking into? Like, man, because some jobs, that everything I just said is totally legit. You got your permit, boom, you can have the Glock on your hip. Or those places where you can have your rifle out on the rack in your truck or whatever, in your trunk, all of the above, no problem. You want to know that. Man, that sort of, I don't know if you're any safer if you then go get your own weapon. I don't know if that makes you any safer, but woo-wee, I would want to know that. Wow, I'm in an environment where about half of the employees here have firearms. Man, I ain't got nothing slick to say here at all. Man, Oh, Gus T, you awful quiet. Yes, sir. I'm gonna give a whole lot. We definitely do not discuss no politics. We don't even discuss sports. I've said that consistently. You watch them finals? I might even add that I don't discuss politics or sports in the workplace, or even give them the triple. I don't discuss religion, politics, or sports in the workplace. What you think about that old Wimby? He sure is tall. I don't discuss politics, religion, sports in the workplace. Really? You don't discuss? People bet all that money and get rowdy, and you don't know who they really. I don't discuss politics, religion, sports in the workplace. All about the same thing, really. System of White Supremacy Racism. But oh no, it's all about de-escalation, minimize conflict. And in fact, I would make note, anytime you see any conduct in the workplace where it's, they about to have some sort of confrontation, write that down. Any sort of explosive conduct in the workplace, we are supposed to be professional here. What are you all having some sort of brawl and screaming match about at work? Why is this happening at work? Oh no, even if you're not involved, that goes in the log for that day. Date, time, as much information as possible. What was this about? Were they fighting about, who won the football game yesterday, or who gonna get the raise or parking plate? What were they even fighting about? What time was this? Who saw this? Did this become a physical confrontation? Write all of that down. That's something to remember for later. Like, okay. Now, I remember that time they had that brawl like there. I'm not taking no side in it. Who was right, who I'm right. We just want a safe work environment. Because even if I'm the one, if I'm seeing the situation with Bryson Kim and Joey McLean in Las Vegas, that's the one where the black male shot the white fella. Man, they're out there doing the demolition derby in the parking lot. It was employees. They intervened for the shooter. He could have ended up shooting two other people, because they said two other people intervened when the kicking started, and then he pulled out his pistol and shot him. Man, we could have got shot. We could have got hit by the car. All of that. Hey, you all need to do something. Maybe if Mr. Kim, the black male, and Mr. McLean are both saying, we need to get moved. Y'all need to do something about this. I'm going to kill that Negro. I'm going to kill that white man. Y'all need to do something about this. And then the other employees will say, hey, this has gotten really out of hand. This is totally unacceptable. You all need to do something about this immediately. This is a totally unsafe work environment. They're having demolitions. They're swerving and hitting people. I could have been hitting in the parking lot. Is this allowed? Is this professional behavior? You all need to do something about this immediately. And if it needs to be every day, because they said this has been going on for 6 months, every day, I'm not interested in them swerving, losing control of their vehicle and hitting my car or me. And I'm not interested in having to intervene, break up a fight. Are they armed? Are they armed? Yes. You all need to resolve this situation immediately, and or move me. I'm not interested in coming and being a part of it. This is not high school. We just get to come and have entertainment and form a circle and watch them fight every day. Like, oh no, This could end up being gunfire in the parking lot. No, I have to be a witness in court? Nah. We need a safe and work environment. You all need to resolve this situation immediately and or move me. That's one, even if I'm not directly involved, that this is happening every day, having these massive violent flare-ups, I might need to update my resume too. God, man, they had 2 different Las Vegas City employees where they got to black their face out and scramble their voice so they can remain anonymous, like they've been a part of some serial killer Exodus episode or what have you, just to talk about what happened at work. I'm supposed to have a boring city job, and I got to go through all the, it's been going on for 6 months. It's been terrible. I knew something like this was going to happen. It's been building up, and they just didn't do nothing. Are you serious? Come on. The number is 720-716-7300. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. Certainly, if we have any folks out there, as I say, if you have been subject to any threats, violence, or what have you, let us know. If you feel like you are getting close to having to threaten someone or be violent with an employee, let us know. We'll see if we can find some strategies to help it not get to that point. Mr. Kim did get arrested, so it's not like, I think things are going to be looking well for him down in the desert. But if you have any tips on de-escalation, maintaining a safe work environment, speed dial, please share untiljustice@gmail.com. That works as well. Let's see. We'll get in some of our emails and folks who dialed in with a hand up as well. Let's see. We'll get person who dialed in first, and then get some of the emails too. Caller who dialed in, non-Clemson grad, Mama C.O.W.S. Dimples. If you had commentary to share, proceed.
Yeah, can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
All right, greetings, sort of. I hope everyone is having a good day.
Oh, your volume dropped like you got far away from your microphone.
All right, can I be heard?
Much better, much better.
Yeah, I have a headset on, which has a microphone, but it's not working correctly. Oh, well, sorry about that. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day to the best of their ability. So first, talking about workplace violence, though I've been at my job over a decade, I can happily say that I haven't had to deal with any kind of workplace violence or anything like that. And, sometimes I have public meetings, and sometimes people can be a bit ornery about some of the things that we have to discuss because I do planning. I remember about a year ago, my director talked about when you have a issue with the public when they come to the county building, there's an emergency button underneath the desk if you ever have an issue with someone from the public. And our building is staffed with county deputies. So if something does happen, there's more than a couple of deputies on site to come and deal with the issue immediately. And then you mentioned the World Cup. Now, me personally, I don't really watch a lot of sports. But what I find particularly interesting about this World Cup is that one of the big things that's been in the news is that you have a lot of people coming from different countries who might be coming to the United States for the first time. And of course, there are multiple sites around the country hosting the World Cup. And unlike other countries in the world, the United States does not have particularly great infrastructure, especially when it comes to public transport. So people who are coming from countries where they used to use public transport are now coming to a country, America, the greatest country on earth, with the biggest GDP and all the things that come with it, and found that they cannot easily get around the country. And when they can get around the country, it costs a lot of money to rent a car or maybe rent an Uber. And of course, if you do those options, when you go to the sports venues, it's going to take forever to filter in and out of those locations because public transport is just not what they need to be for a country that's considered first world. But now on to my stories. There's a corner office for getting things done when you have a public-facing position in my office, but it's free for anyone to use. Sometimes I was there, I was going in there and the room was apparently being signed out. Last week, I was in a room early in the morning and the woman who had it signed out told me and I left immediately. Later on in the week, I was called into the office of the department administrator. She went on to tell me about the purpose of the room. I informed her that I was not aware of the purpose of the room. Nevertheless, one of the things I have done to mitigate interfering with people who might need the room is that I got access to the calendar to see who might be in the room at that time, thanks to my department administrative assistant, so it was a non-issue. What I don't appreciate is that it seemed that the issue was elevated to the department administrator who called me into her office. When I told Mama C about the story, she asked me, did the department administrator use a compliment sandwich? I said no. Then I told her what we talked about initially before we got to her office, before she told me about the issues with the people who needed to use the corner office. And then we had general conversation. The second general conversation involved how she petitioned county council people privately to get county workers a raise, the same as the sheriff's department. Usually the sheriffs get big raises along with being on paid tiers, which allow them to get raises automatically just for being on the force. County employees don't get raises just for being employees until county council grants it. That means sheriffs get raises upon the raises that county council gives them. County council is on the canard of we must pay our public safety officials. I asked the county administrator if that included EMS, and even she said no. And that was the compliment sandwich. General conversation, telling me about the issue, and then the second conversation about getting a raise in relationship to the sheriff's department. Once again, a white bitch escalated something farther than it needed to go. Yesterday, my manager made me aware of a leadership training opportunity held by the HR department. It was a workshop on difficult conversations, just like the one I just had with my county administrator. And the training happened today. Such trainings are usually reserved for managers, but my manager told me about it. I asked HR to participate, and they said yes. I did find the workshop to be very informative. They did 4 different scenarios on employee-manager relations. The participants in the room had to act out the scenarios. The one scenario that got my attention was the one where there was a good employee who worked consistently for 12 years and started to become tardy for work. After learning the scenario, the participants were free to choose and elaborate the stories that they were acting out. The one scenario that caught my attention involved the manager confronting the employee and the employee revealing that he had personal issues that involved the daughter running away from home and being arrested and having issues with drugs. The person who was the manager was having a particularly hard time responding to the situation. At the scenario, the instructor would ask the workshop participants what would you have done to deal with the situation? People gave their answers and then actually volunteered. I wrote that wrong. Then I volunteered what was on my mind. I said in that scenario, there is no need to pry into someone's personal business. Instead, give them options where they can leave work and deal with their personal issues. This way, the person maintains their privacy while you also address tardiness issues. The instructor responded that was a great response. He commented that there are people who don't particularly want their personal lives in the workplace and become suspicious if you ever ask them anything personal. They'll respond usually in the form of, who's asking, why are you asking? At the end of the workshop, the instructor spoke with me more to compliment me on such a great response. After leaving the workshop, I went back to my cubicle, thanked my manager for letting me know about the workshop, then proceeded to transcribe the workshop as I recorded it. I plugged it into ChatGPT, and it said that my response was really nuanced and middle ground, as most managers make 2 mistakes when responding to such situations. One, they are too empathetic and try to resolve the employee's personal issues, which can open the manager and employer to liability, or they're unempathetic. It was in that moment I realized that I don't lack skills in leadership. I lack opportunities. And it was at that point I decided that I was good enough even if I never get another raise or promotion, though I want those things. I was putting too much emphasis on external validation, which was causing me to feel uneasy and maybe even a bit depressed. This session helped me to unintentionally reflect and gave me more confidence in my own abilities, even if my current employer does not appreciate my skills. And with that, I'll mute my line.
Wow. Hey, he said they got I guess you're not in the same group with what I suspect is mostly white sheriffs in South Carolina who get the raises upon raises upon raises, since they said the public safety servants were supposed to get the raises too. Did that include you? Did you get a raise too?
So first and foremost, my department did it again. I'm sorry, I walked away from the computer again. So first and foremost, the county just announced, because my department administrator walked around the office with a sign in her head saying that, oh, we got a raise from county council that was comparable to the sheriff's department, the same exact percentage, right? So I personally do not work for the safety department. I work for planning, which is a completely separate department, and public safety. So a better way to explain it is that there's the regular county employees, you know, your HR department, your planning departments, your engineering departments, your public works department, and then there's the sheriff's department. Those are two separate things, but they're both funded through, of course, your local taxes. And of course, police or public safety officials occupy this different place in our society where their work is treated as sacrosanct and must be paid accordingly. Of course, though, when you hear that kind of language, you're only usually talking about police officers, which is why I asked the question to my my department administrator, does that include EMS, to which she said no.
Wow. Well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. We don't want to be giving out raises to niggers in South Carolina, just sheriffs, law enforcement. Not even the EMS. That's dang. Not even EMS? No. Okay. Much obliged. No raise for non-Clemson grad.
You misunderstood. I did get a raise. Everyone in county employees are getting a raise, along with the sheriff's department.
Oh, okay. Well, bravo. I'm glad I misunderstood it that way. Got it. He is getting, it's just not as big as the sheriff's raise.
You're almost there. It is just as big as the sheriff's department. Usually when raises are given by county council, and for the most part, county council usually does give a raise every year. Not every year, but usually they do. But usually the sheriff's department would usually get a bigger raise. So let's say that maybe the regular employees got 2%, but the sheriff's department might get something like double that, like 4% or something like that. But this year around, it's equal, as opposed to usual years, aside from the fact that in the sheriff's department, they have tiers that automatically escalate their salaries aside from the raises that are granted by the county council.
Okay. So that's why she had the sign this time around that says we're getting a raise equal to the sheriff's.
Well, she was simply announcing the raise. She wasn't announcing it in comparison to the sheriff's department. That was a private conversation she had when she was addressing the issue with the corner room about how that came about and how she petitioned them to make sure that we got a raise comparable to the sheriff's department.
I see. Thank you for taking time to explain. Thank you. That's still, congrats. They got raised. Right on. Always cheer a few extra nickels in this environment. Right on. The training about the difficult conversations, fascinating. Maybe with all the brawls and fighting that they have in the workplace, maybe we need more of that. We can have more options and everybody can learn a little bit about de-escalation and different techniques to handle difficult chit-chats on the job. He said he had excellent examples for the, I guess, little role play scenario where the quality employee has been showing up late or what have you, and giving him some options where he can figure it out without prying all into personal business. I'm a big time advocate of not having to get all into people's personal business in the workplace for the exact reasons that were given in the training. Like, some people get defensive about that, and why are you asking? I didn't even come to get in all of that. Like, hey, we can be empathetic and give this person options to help them deal with the situation without tell me everything that's going on and what's happening with your daughter. Like, whoa. Boundaries. We can do two things at once, solve the problem and still connect on a human level. Everybody has difficulties. Children can be difficult, for sure. Not double O dimples. But I'm glad he got the training, because we had talked about that before, and sometimes black people, non-white people, not getting opportunities to attend training like that. And it seemed like he was saying that's more like the management training for folks that we want to be moving up into leadership positions, which he had talked about before. Like, hey, let's do the management training. We don't need any more technical expertise. I am management material to go and participate, give some great insight. Awesome. Go back and thank the management for allowing you to attend. Great. Put that on the resume, so that'll be updated as well. And I thought that was important as well. He said after going and giving his commentary in the training, we're like, wow, I did have great insight, great suggestions. If I was to be in a leadership position for something like that, I do not need validation from these white people to tell me that I'm great, smart, capable of doing this job. I'm like, man, valedictorian, and I think that can happen to all of us, where we get kind of discouraged, because the system of white supremacy is set up to reject black people, like all of us. It doesn't matter. You have perfect SAT scores, valedictorian, all it doesn't matter. Like, the system of white supremacy is set up to reject non-white people, especially if you are black. And all of us, it can end up being, man, I must not be up to par. Man, I'm deficient somehow. I didn't do this right, or I didn't study hard enough, and not at all. System of white supremacy designed to kind of have us discouraged and questioning our confidence. Like he said, that's not it at all. We are in a system of white supremacy racism. If we were in a system of justice, I'd have been promoted eons ago. Like, oh my God, be making more than the sheriffs. Jeez. I was reminded of the panic button. He said that since they go out and have to talk to the public, sometimes give bad conversations, explain, you all ain't gonna get no sidewalk. You all ain't gonna get no crosswalk. They have to go out and give all those explanations. And he said that they have an emergency button. It reminded me of the panic button that our caller at the courthouse talked about, in case, folks get unruly and all the rest of it. I guess they have the deputies there to come out and now, calm down, all the rest of it. But I would take all of that extra serious now. Like, man, just with the climate and everything else. Whew, where's that emergency button again? Okay, here, like, okay. Anybody gets unruly, we get to the crosswalk section, keep an eye on the crowd. And it would kind of be the same thing there. Like, I don't know if people have to go through a metal detector before they come in, if they want to give their comments and all the rest of it. But, any of these folks armed and all the rest of it, like, man, okay, stand right there. Let's go ahead and talk. And I'm going to be alert, observant of who is in the crowd, what their tone sounds like. Do I think we're going to be talking about anything that might rile people up today, where I know people have been commenting and they might have a little bit of emotion on the microphone when we get to this one. Be alert. Safety first. Man, much congratulations again on the Rays non-Clemson grad. Spectacular. Hopefully be more to come, more trainings, and hey, you get that promotion, like, love it, whether it's there or elsewhere. I think he had said he was updating the resume, so looking even for better opportunities. So hopefully even better things on the horizon down there in South Carolina. Much obliged again, sir. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564-943#. Press *61 if you would like to participate. I guess anybody, if you work on a job and they have one of those, like, panic buttons, emergency buttons, something dangerous happens so you can get help. Man, maybe familiarize yourself again what are we, what's the policy? Because sometimes they get upset, so you're not supposed to press it for that and all that. Man, let's readdress that policy given what has been happening over the past 12 months or so. Man, where's that button again? Okay. How long does it take for people to, get on the scene? Like, okay, let's be alert people that might be a problem, and things to look for. Like, go over all of that. Maximize safety in the workplace. Let's see. Our first email, young lady writes in, "Hi Gus, Cal's audience. Yesterday was the divisional away day." I think this is the one where they had to travel like 500 miles or something absurd. Right Wing Ashley and our director introduced the day. She has come a very long way from the person who needed counseling before she would introduce herself during an online meeting. People sat wherever they wanted, and I sat on a table with two people from Right Wing Ashley's team. There were several spare seats. Right Wing Ashley walked past several so that she was seated in between me and one of her colleagues. Really brazen. It seems she's no longer scared of me. The day began with a so-called icebreaker. We were each asked to draw self-portraits in advance of the day, with a clue to help others guess who it was. We then worked in groups to identify which drawing belonged to whom. I deliberately drew myself, looking serious as I didn't want to be the smiling clown. I thought I kept to myself. Kathy, very butch lesbian and racist suspect, who reports to Phoebe and works alongside Right Wing Ashley, Isabel, Fred, Shelley, and Zoe decided to analyze my drawing. She said she likes to pay attention to how people view themselves and commented that mine was the only picture without a smile. Uh-oh, you got one of these serious niggas. She found strange because I'm always smiling. Is that true? Really? I don't know. I don't work with this person, so obviously I don't get to see them every day, all day long to see, what do they look like, at work? Do you smile on it? But really? Do your self-assessment, do you think you are just walking around just, oh, stop, Helen. Are you just walking around just smiling and giggling and laughing and grinning ear to ear all day long? Do you think that's true? Continuing. She was practicing racism. The drawings varied in quality. Some people drew themselves as stick figures. That's what I would have done. I would say, hey, I didn't get that old artistic thumb. I ain't no Van Gogh. I ain't no Picasso. Just Negro. Yeah, stick figure. There you go. Analyze that. Several people drew themselves without a mouth altogether. My drawing was selected as the best. I know her team spends a lot of time discussing me. I don't get the impression they think I'm a happy, smiley nigger. See, that's what I said. Like, really? Do you think you walk around just giggling and smiling all day? Really? Anyway, continuing. The next session was delivered by two more suspected racists, Maddie and Keeley. They ran a personality quiz session which lasted about 45 minutes. We did the Myers-Briggs as a group, which they were not qualified to assess, in my opinion. We were then asked a series of questions. They do have training that you're supposed to go through to administer that, as I understand it. I've taken it before. I thought you're supposed to go through training to... Anyway, I have not done the training. That's why I've never administered the test. I've just taken it. We were then asked a series of questions which posed a moral dilemma involving choosing who lives or dies. The choices became more and more difficult as the questions progressed, about 10 in total. I felt very unnerved at the end. Even Harry, racist suspect, questioned why they had chosen those questions, but he laughed at the same time, so Maddie and Keeley will be fine. Why are we, I mean, I get it. If some people, if you work in a hospital, right? And so if you maybe have to talk about triage and that sort of, especially if you have mass casualty events all the time, yes, you might need to have this sort of conversation. But I mean, if we don't do that sort of work, like, what? Like, why are we talking about situations that are more applicable to the types of decisions that we'll be making on our job on a daily basis? Like, Come on, man. Like, even I might even say like that white culture always got to figure talking about death and killing. Like, what is? Come on, man. Come on. Let's see. Harry then led a session on how our priorities and ensuring we deliver, which lasted an hour. Then we went to lunch. The afternoon was spent doing a scavenger hunt at a museum. Did I mention they traveled like 500 miles for all this? Like, I go to the museum. I think San Francisco Museum of Modern Art emailed me like today. They're having an event next week. People in the Bay Area, go check it out. I'm a big fan of San Francisco. I think while I was in San Fran, I went to MoMA like 3 times when I was there for a month. So that's almost once a week. It's great. Awesome. They have all kinds of events. I saw Carl Walker. Awesome. I'm not traveling no 300 miles just to go to visit a museum with my coworkers. Like, that is upsetting. It's probably a museum in the town where they work that they could have just went and did the scavenger hunt there or someplace else cool that's right where we live, not where we got to hop on the train and travel for hours. Scavenger hunt. Come on. The game was designed by Phoebe, which with help from Maddie. Phoebe obviously spent days designing it, and she also did a trial run with her children. I was in Harry's group and noted that he commented 3 times about the amount of time Phoebe put into designing the scavenger hunt. I got the impression he wasn't completely comfortable with it, but he praised afterwards. Phoebe announced she was thinking of turning it into a commercial opportunity and collected the packets she created on work time with work resources. Harry said he thought that was a great idea and encouraged her to turn it into a business. It's a white world. A business? Like, is this like a corporate thing? Like you do corporate tours where you take the employees on this scavenger hunt? It's like a team building exercise? Is that what it's supposed to be? Is it something for children? Like an educational thing you do it with classroom groups? I don't even understand. I'm not classified as white, so I had to, get extra details just to make sure I got the structuring of the raise scale in South Carolina correct. So maybe I just, not grasping, but this does not seem like a lucrative business opportunity to me. Anyhoodles, much obliged. And white people waste more time. Like, when non-Clemson grad, his commentary about the difficult conversations, that's what we call it, where, hey, when you're on a job and you have to talk about difficult subject matter, somebody might need to get fired, or the person is not showing up on time, or you're not going to get that raise, or whatever it is, man, that is way more important, necessary than some nonsense about, well, we gonna go to the museum and see how many people can find the Easter egg. Like, what? They do more like juvenile, childish things at work than, the birthday parties and all of that. We got to get together and do Halloween parties and Christmas. They do more childish things at work to waste time. Even the drawing pictures, it's like, come on, man. How can we do our job better? How about that? Nah, we don't. wasting time. Got it. The email, untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. The number 720-716-7300. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Again, if folks have been threatened, have dealt with any violence, observed violence where you maybe, hopefully, were not the target, but happened in the vicinity where you work, let us know. Has this been addressed? Have they had, company meetings where they've talked about de-escalation, or, hey, we don't tolerate no violence. Let you know right now. You better get your tempers in check if you want to keep that paycheck. first time, last time you put your hand on an employee here, we don't tolerate all that, which would be great. Give everybody a reminder of that so that we don't have no verbal disputes and all the rest of it, and maybe even encourage folks. Let us know if you hear where people are having arguments and brawls and what have you, seems like it's getting a little heated. Let us know so that we can intervene. Maybe, folks, if you got so-called hothead, maybe you don't need to work here. Or maybe we need to go and have a talking to some folks, see if we can get them to behave, get along a little bit better with their peers. But hopefully we have that sort of environment as opposed to a place where they don't care, not to let people try and kill each other for 6 months until it breaks out into gunfire in the parking lot. Hopefully it's more of the former, given the environment. But I would try to push it towards the former, where we are constructive and proactive to having a safe work environment. Share those news reports, because there's so many of them, especially anything that happens like in our state or close to our region where we are geographically. Oh yeah. Boop. Look at that. Look. Let's make sure we have a safe work environment. We don't want anything like that to happen here. This is tragic. Like, let's make sure we have a safe work. And again, just framing it as a safety concern. Most people should not immediately dismiss a safety concern. That would at least think about it for a second. Safety should be, at least we're supposed to be pretending that safety is important in the workplace. And that could even encompass the heat. I'm talking about the violence a lot today, but that could even encompass heat, because it is 104 in Vegas and pretty hot some other places too. So that safety could even, encompass, make sure we have adequate hydration, water, shading, all the rest of it, so that we don't die from heat also. Let's see. Make sure I started last week. I was sharing Mr. Fuller's 1966 employee evaluation from October 25, 1966. And it's lengthy, so I said I'll just read a little bit each week, and then I got his full record, so we can read a little bit of his record. Maybe not every week, but every now and then we'll read a little bit. But this one specifically, I'll do a little bit each week until we get through it, so I can get through this report. So, second installment from Mr. Fuller's 1966 employee evaluation. We were at number 3. It reads, is constantly alert and vigilant to guard against surprise attack. We need that now. Attempted holdup, riot, illegal entry, fire, damage, and injury to property and persons. Extreme alertness and detailed attention to the business at hand is exercised by this employee at all times. He has developed for himself a keen awareness of the importance of his individual role to the overall agency program. He is exceptionally observant at all times. He is considered unusually adept in his ability to identify and recognize persons and their respective work areas. His self-developed knowledge and sound application of maximum security regulations materially contributes an additional deterrent to violations and adds to the solidity of the Bureau's security protective programs. Numbers 4, 5, and 6. Satisfactorily completes all training prescribed, continually qualifies with the .38 caliber revolver, and safely utilizes riot guns, gas weapons, etc. Acquires and maintains knowledge and location of proper type of extinguishers and their application. Demonstrates ability to follow instructions implicitly concerning fire and accident prevention under normal and emergent conditions. Because of his continual interest in attaining current knowledge for promoting his performance, Private Fuller welcomes and successfully completes all formal and informal training afforded to him. Training. You always want to get training. He experiences no difficulty whatsoever in acquiring and maintaining skills and current related knowledges with regard to the varied equipment utilized by guards. He is considered to be entirely reliable and has demonstrated genuine adeptness in performing efficiently under emergent and adverse conditions. 7. Demonstrates promptness, accuracy, and cooperation in performance of regular, special, and related duties. Total performance, regular, special, and or related assignments are accomplished with an exceptionally high degree of efficiency as well as expediency. Private Fuller, in exercising foresight, anticipates and volunteers his services before being requested for assistance. He performs all duties with self-pride in accomplishment, which contributes to the outstanding manner of achievement in the level of performance. 8. Must be willing to accept any shift assignment and, under emergent conditions, must be willing to report for duty at any time when called upon. Demonstrates willingness to accept assignments requiring adaptability to change and devotes full time and attention to assigned duties, working harmoniously and effectively with supervisors and co-workers. Complete willingness to serve regardless of the time or the assignment, with full comprehension and awareness of his primary responsibility applied in day-to-day performance, is clearly evident of this employee. His willingness and exceptional ability to train new guards and impart valuable information and procedural standards, which he himself so thoroughly and efficiently applies, provides a very impressionable and outstanding example to new employees, co-workers, etc. He is extremely congenial and exercises exceptional tact and courtesy in his performance, which results in harmonious and effective relationships, yet commands the respect for security criteria by all contacts. Private Fuller is without doubt an outstanding asset to the Bureau organization, reflecting only favor upon the Treasury Department. He contributes to the efficiency and effectiveness of his supervisors by passing on information which is valuable in promoting job coordination and communications. I will stop there. Probably take one more session to get the whole 1966 report. But again, I said, very impressive to be able to just go and nab someone's employee records, and that right there is a compliment to just read what did your coworkers say about your performance on the job. And this, like I said, is from 1966. So Mr. Fuller, who had like a 3-decade career at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, he had only been on the job at this point for like a couple years, basically, and already, wow, amazing. One of the best employees we have, total asset to the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, and oh my gosh, training. Mr. Fuller talked about that all the time, even, when I was not really cognizant, like, where did you work at? Oh, Bureau of Printing. But he used to talk about training, and that is one of the ways that white people make sure we are not able to get those promotions and move up, keeping us from getting training, really even making sure that we are not able to do the jobs that we are allowed to have well, or maximize our efficiency and productivity, not giving us training and or not giving us adequate training. He talked about that all the time. Ask for training, ask for adequate training, make sure that you get trained well, and make sure that you are not being denied training opportunities. He talked about that all the time. Really, that's one of the things right there, as opposed to talking about a whole lot of craziness, and you seen Jalen Brunson, the Knicks, and all the other training opportunities. That's way more. There's lots of other things we could be talking about in the world. Do they allow firearms here on the premises? It's a whole lot of things that are way important to discuss, that we should address, that do not involve, white ball games and vacations and all the rest of it. Very important things that you need to know for your safety in the workplace, and even so you can make a few extra nickels, advance, why we, wanted this job to begin with. Let's see. But we will get the rest of Mr. Fuller's evaluation from 1966. We'll finish that up, I think, next week. Should get the rest of that in. Always, lots to emulate from the great Neely Fuller Jr. Hit the website if you need word guide, code book, producejustice.com. Other folks, *61 drop a line if you have commentary. I did want to say quickly, non-Clemson grad, we had talked about the folks coming over for the World Cup, and we're supposed to have great infrastructure and folks being challenged, people who do not live here, and like, wow, it's, you know, they don't have a train, we can't easily get around the country, and or it's very expensive to get around and go to all of these places. Gus T in Seattle, one of the host cities for the World Cup, and I've been saying like, oh man, it has been terrible in these regions with the Cup because there's so much going on in the city in June anyway. And then to add this on top of it, just, it's been, and I think that's the case for a number of the cities that are hosting, like they already have a lot of stuff going on, so to add this on top of it, just, gee whiz. So it has been not fun. The public, or at least in my opinion, not fun. The Fox 13 in Seattle, they had a report about the impact of all of this on transportation in the Seattle area, at least. Seattle reviews FIFA World Cup 2026 transit options after post-match congestion. The report reads, city and transit officials are calling Seattle's first World Cup match a major success, but local soccer fans say navigating the transit system after the event required patience. Following Monday's match between Belgium and Egypt, heavy demand for public transportation left thousands of attendees waiting in massive lines outside stadium exit points. Some fans reported waiting for over an hour just to board the local light rail system, prompting both commuters and operations officials to evaluate lessons learned ahead of upcoming matches. These matches are going to last until July, basically the first week of July, so it's like another 3 weeks of all of this in an area, Seattle, where we have a population of about 1 million in the greater Seattle area. So you would already have a lot of congestion and rowdiness piled up in these. And plus man, I am not going past the soccer matches are played where the Seahawks play in the football stadium here. So all of that stuff is like downtown. I am not going past like Capitol Hill in terms of south. I am not headed that way at least till July. Like I'm good on that. I think tomorrow is the 19th, Juneteenth. I think tomorrow they're having soccer games here. Like that's another, not going any further south than Capitol Hill tomorrow. I think Fridays and Mondays are all the soccer games. So any Juneteenth celebration, it will have to be in the north end of Seattle to deal with all of that. I don't even think Seattle has poor public transportation, but just with all of this influx, you can pray for Gus T. Just hope to survive. I can't even say June because the World Cup is still going in July. It's just past July 4th, so it has to be like survive the next 4 weeks, we'll say. Survive the next 4 weeks. Survive the next 4 weeks. But yes, it has been wacky. I don't know. I'd have to check for other cities to see, are they having similar problems in New York City? Similar problems in Boston? Some of the other places where there are similar problems in L.A. Is it just another day in LA? Who knows? I have to look and see. But that is the report from Seattle, from someone who is not a soccer World Cup fan at all. I do not care at all and never had any excitement or enthusiasm about any of this being in. I think I would feel the same way even if the Super Bowl had been played here this past February. I would not have been excited about that either. Anywho. Number again, 720-716-7300. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. Give folks like another 5 minutes or so, see if they have comments, suggestions to share, especially anything about safety in the workplace, or if you got any jabs, insults about Juneteenth. We will not be taking any vacations for Juneteenth. We will be here. Even somehow I feel like that is cosmically aligned to be reading. I think it might even be the second worst book I've ever read. It just keeps moving up and up. The more we read, the worse it gets. Might be the second worst book I've ever read. New Jim Crow, mass incarceration in the age of colorblindness. We are reading it, our 10th session on Juneteenth. We don't do holidays, so we will be right here, ready to roll. Normal time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on Juneteenth for her to tell us about the white victims of racism. I cannot wait. But that'll be tomorrow as we continue with Lion Michelle Alexander's New Jim Crow, Friday, Juneteenth, and then we'll be here on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, where we'll review what has gone down last 7 days. I guess it might be summer official by then. Have to double check with the calendar to see if we hit the equinox officially, but we'll review what has gone down the last 7 days. I think they had a shooting outside of a Walmart. It was not a workplace. That was a shoplifting situation down in Mississippi where a 1-year-old black child was shot and killed in an alleged shoplifting incident. We'll discuss that and some of the other incidents that have taken place over the past week. This Saturday counter-racist weekly review. Make sure folks got through Juneteenth safe. I guess I'll give my PSA. Sobriety would be best. Folks got holiday tomorrow if you don't have to work and all the rest of it. It's summers and we can have a 3-day weekend. Go act a fool. Sobriety would be best. Unless I have been misinformed, I think we have already began what they call the 100 most dangerous days on the road. I might have messed the title up, but that's basically the paraphrase. The 100 most dangerous days on the road, which they say are the summertime. You got people, they got the gas prices, they said, started to plummet with the deal Trump allegedly made with Iran. And, oh man, we got to get out and do some road trips for the summer and family reunions and go to the beach and all the rest of it. Maybe starting tomorrow, since we got a day off for some of us at least and out of school and all the rest of it. And I think Father's Day is this weekend. Sobriety would be best. You do not want to be out on the road acting a fool, under the influence, and especially out late. That's when Dr. Cambon used to talk about all the time, and especially for younger black people. When I say younger black people, like 20s, teens, especially if you have not been driving very long, you're young, 17, 18, you don't have an extensive record on the road. Man, you do not want to be acting a fool this weekend because you do have lots of folks who are intoxicated behind the wheel, and just lots of folks who are out acting a fool. I just told you the folks in Vegas, they were out swerving before they even got to the shootout. Lots of that sort of reckless, dangerous driving on the road, and especially late at night. If you look, when they have some of these incidents that are tragedies and alcohol is involved or it was a bad crash or something like that, frequently they are late, meaning it'll be sometime midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., that sort of thing. Like generally, nothing good happens after 11 p.m. I get it. You're a younger person. You want to have fun with your friends, all of that good stuff. Great. Get to one location and sit down. You do not want to be hopping, going here, there, 12, 11, 2 o'clock. You are asking for trouble, especially in a system of white supremacy. If you're classified as black, you are asking for trouble. Get to one spot, have your fun in that one location, constructively, safely, and then everybody can depart in the morning. But you do not want to be out. We got to go here and do all that bar hopping, and oh man, could be trouble. Frequently is. Especially if you're doing all this hopping and you are under the influence. And you don't have as much control over who you're randomly bumping into as you're going from location to location. And your brain computer, you don't make the best decisions when you are a little bit younger, in your teens, 20s. These folks are kind of infamous for poor decision making, especially under the influence. Might be good to remind, if you have young folks, to remind them of all of that heading into this so-called 3-day weekend. Hey, even if you have older folks, to remind them of all of that going into this 3-day weekend. Again, System of White Supremacy. I'm of the opinion we don't really have anything to celebrate. So stay safe, stay on the grind, and maybe get some extra rest. Use that time to get something constructive done. Hit the farmer's market, maybe. I don't know. Anywho, let's see. Make sure we did not miss other folks that have commentary, suggestions to share. Again, we have any folks with suggestions on de-escalating threats, violence in the workplace, share. If you hear the archives and you have tips and or suggestions, share. If you have observed any of this, the violence in the workplace, or as I said, if you are thinking it might be you, either as the victim or you might have to go and grab somebody in the headlock, let us know, what exactly is happening in your work environment. We'll see if we can do the best that we can to try to think of some ways to minimize, keep you from having to get into some sort of altercation, or try to keep things as safe as possible in your work environment. But man, you do not want to be on either situation. The black male in Nevada who is now under arrest for shooting a white man, like, Jesus. Bryson Kim, 26-year-old, does that sound like this is going to work? You think that's going to work out well? Killed a white man in Nevada. You think we're going to have a good Christmas this year? I don't know if he killed a non-white person or a white person, but John Wallace Bay, 23-year-old black male in Delaware, you think that's going to work out? You killed at least one person in a hospital. That's going to work out well? You do not want to be either the perpetrator or the victim. You want to be boring, regular old day where I got home safely, no bloodshed, no shots fired, nothing to report. That is the goal. That's what we want. I didn't have to press the emergency button, the panic button, 911, none of the above. I had a boring day. I got all my nickels. See if I can go and repeat that tomorrow. Oh, maybe we got Juneteenth. I'll see if I can rest a little bit, and maybe I can try and go in on Monday and do it again. Boring, safe day. Anywho, let's see. Didn't miss anyone, folks. No commentary to share. Let's see. Our caller at the courthouse, where they do have the panic button and even the training about how to use the panic button to make sure that we are not abusing the panic button. Caller at the courthouse should be with us as well.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. I'm glad you mentioned that, Gus, about the panic button. I think it may have been used toward another black coworker. I didn't see it. I just heard a victim, or was told by a victim, that something happened with one of the bailiffs. May have come in and tried to do something or say something, but nothing really got to the point to where the black customer had to be had any force used against them, thank goodness. Like the other incident with Mr. Hayes from, I think that was 2021, Gus, where it was a black male that walked in, and it was like five. All I just remember just seeing, it was 5 white dudes jumped on this black dude, and they had on the green sheriff's office uniforms, and it just happened very fast. And he was saying stuff like white boy and stuff like that, and something about roots, and he said, I ain't gonna do no, I guess, suck no penis to get out of jail. I don't know how to say it verbatim, but he said something along those lines. And I'm like, wow, did he just say that? But it wasn't warranted for him to get jumped on like that. It was just an older black dude. And I remember they tried to get me to give customer service to this person. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And not too long after that, I never seen that guy again. But to further add to that, I appreciate hearing the observation on Mr. Fuller's employee record. You know, that made me do some thinking on how to try to become more professional in the job that I do. And even down to the way I type out the emails and how I speak on the phone and how I see people in person, you know, it's something I have been thinking about. And if I could share some observations that have happened recently, there's a clique member that I usually speak on, which is profoundly or predominantly white women. This white woman is going around crying and you know, coming out saying that, oh, they're going to fire me, and you know, I just don't know what to do. But she was just so like arrogant for so long and doing things that she wasn't really getting punished for. So now all of a sudden she's going around and all acting like she's in distraught and everything. And from what a victim has shared with me. But she just got moved out of the office and moved to another location. And she was under the white guy that I share about, who is unprofessional and don't know how to talk to people. So he's just ready to get on out of there. He has his white connection, and he's going to be going upstairs. So the person who ended up just getting that position was another white woman, okay? And I've described this white woman as someone who likes the orange and green FAMU shirts. And she was upset that she couldn't wear her FAMU shirt. And she got the job like in 2021. It was the same year as Mr. Hayes. And just to give some kind of history on it, where I just heard talk that it was an interview where this person was getting her nails done while doing the job interview, like on Zoom or something like that. And that was this same white chick who was able to start in the segregated area that I call it. And then she was able to transition to the more white side. Then she started doing the tax deeds, and now she has been made into the supervisor, but I think they offered it to a black male, and he refused it. I guess he might have had some suspicions, and then another non-white person was offered it, but I'm not sure of how the whole process went. But this non-white person is in the other courthouse building, so it looks like he turned it down. All of a sudden, the white woman is replacing this white man. So what also happened is that with some of the responsibilities the white guy had, they're going to try to put, like, for instance, the cashiering at the front counter, they're going to give it to a non-white female in the traffic area, because it's where they come pay traffic tickets, and it's connected to the civil area where they come and do and file for divorces, small claims, things of that nature. So they're going to put that off on the non-white female, and I guess to have it easier for the white chick. That's how I observed it. And yeah, this is her fourth job position, and I think she's about to get to about 2021 this year, October. Gus, she'll be hitting 5 years. So I wanted to share that, and there's another update I wanted to share on. It was an email that was sent out, and it was in response to something about more money being obtained by the head person, was trying to get more money, but it sounded kind of abstract. It wasn't really no details on it. And the language was side hustle. Now, this is a white woman that's saying this, the HR lady. I'm like, now, why would she use that kind of terminology? You know, like side hustle. I'm like, what? Like, huh? So, but I just continued to just read it, and she had listed on there about if anybody has any secondary jobs or like things like going to do deliveries, and she listed something like hairstylist. So I'm like, oh, you want to use that term to, I think she was trying to focus in on and target select black employees in the staff, in my opinion. And a lady actually replied and did a reply all and said that yes, I do hair and things like that. And I was like, oh no, I would not have done that. I guess I'll say the VGQ or whatnot, but she at least should have replied to the HR person, you know, just giving out her information like that. But they said if you have any kind of secondary job, just please respond to this email. So I wanted to share that. And one last thing is a white woman I thought was practicing racism when she did the same thing, replying to the other white woman that sent out like a general email. I can't really remember what it was on, but the white woman replied and said something about, well, nobody's informing me on anything, and I'm in trial this week. And I'm thinking clearly she's talking about the black female supervisor or the black manager, and saying that, you know, they're doing huddles around when I come down and I try and make it down before 5 o'clock. Can somebody just tell me what's going on? And all of that kind of stuff was said in this email that was sent out to everybody. So like I mentioned before, Gus, you know, I try to keep this folder where I can screenshot those kinds of emails, you know, where that kind of language is being used, and just so I can just get a collection of that. So it doesn't look like the black person tries to pursue questioning this white woman or the other white people in the area, but she'll cause issues with the black female. So that's been some of the most recent updates I'd like to share. And that's all I have to share. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Much obliged, our caller at the courthouse in Florida. Did they, like, what was the reasoning with the email where they, you know, let us know if you got a side hustle? Was it just, what was the reasoning? Did you grasp why were they asking about people's side hustle?
Gus, I think it was something where the white woman was sending out this email about, I guess the top white person in charge, the clerk, was trying to get more money or something like that, get us more money. I think that's how it was being worded, maybe trying to make it look like they want to do some kind of a raise or whatnot. And then she went on into speaking about, well, you know, we're trying to compile, she used the word compile, a list of employees and side jobs and side hustles that they do. So if you do any of these kind of things, like the food deliveries and like different kind of things like that, and then they made sure they said hairstylist. I'm like, man, you know, like, why you want to use certain select type of job titles or whatnot? So yes, sir, it was about the top person trying to, I guess, at the county commission, trying to get more money, and I guess they are trying to say that that's going to be some kind of means to help make that successful, I guess.
That is interesting. I definitely would not have replied all if I'm a non-white person. I'd say that for pretty much any email that they send out to all the employees, and whatever component of it you feel like, oh, I need to respond to that, you are just replying to the one person, not everybody. I know sometimes people have made and she might have done the same thing, because I know sometimes I've made a mistake and sometimes other people make a mistake and tap the reply all button and pause any email that, hey, this got sent to all the employees. Pause. This is not a reply all. Just replying to the one person who needs this information. That is it. Make sure, double, triple, quadruple check. Everybody does not need to know your business, your side hustle, whatever. Everyone that you work with, even if you work with all black people, they do not all need to know that information. I would say that is curious. All of it, really. Side hustle, all of it is curious. Not that I've never heard a white person use that phrasing before, but specifically even the types of jobs that were mentioned, I would say those are jobs that are racialized, so-called stereotyped to non-white people, generally food delivery and hairstyling, that sort of thing. I know that many white people will have to, even just down with the bailiff, since he mentioned Mr. Hayes, and I remember that one with the panic button, and they jumped on the privileged black male. Frequently, you'll have the sheriff's deputies and such. They will have side hustles. I just heard a big report where they were talking about enforcement officers and all of the overtime and such, because even that can end up in fraud because they'll end up lying about that, or sometimes departments, they'll have rules about that because they'll have officers who end up piling up all this work with their side hustle, and then, can you come in here and not sleep when it's time to be a police officer, that sort of thing. So, man, white people have all kinds of second jobs that they do in addition to, whatever else is going. It might even be that they have their own company, and I've seen a lot of that as well. None of that, does that count too? Or is it this, they want these, we want to give a picture of our little struggling niggers that work here so that we can beg for more money? Is that what it is? Who knows? The section about the weeping white woman, and they're going to fire me, said she was with the clique, and she's moping, and oh no, they're going to fire me, because she's just been kind of doing whatever she wants to. And it seems like they have lots of white people, white men, white women, at the courthouse where this applies to them, where they just do whatever they want to, and I'm gonna wear whatever I want to, and act however I want to, and maybe I come in for the interview, maybe I go to the beauty salon, I do whatever I want to. Do not emulate them, one. And hey, sometimes white people do get in trouble. Now, I didn't say they get fired, but they do get in trouble. And I don't think he said she got fired either. She just did a whole lot of weeping, you can fire me, and she got transferred. That when they did, the Fuller was perfect. She got transferred. If it had been me, some of the other black folks that he's talked about at the courthouse, we would have been fired for sure. Weeping or no. The white woman with the FAMU shirts, and another example right there, because you're not supposed to be wearing sports paraphernalia unless I've been misinformed, but she does it anyway, as do many of the white. But she got promoted, get transferred. She got the supervisor position. The white fellow that he mentioned before, my compadre, unprofessional, doesn't know how to talk to people. He said he's about to be out of there. He's got his white cronyism, and same thing. Not getting fired, even though, unless I'm misinformed, he said he had been messing up. It's implied he had been messing up. Unprofessional, doesn't know how to talk to people. How did you even get this job? White cronyism, racism, white supremacy. But he's supposed to be moving on, doing whatever else. I think that's the one, interestingly, where they said that I guess that supervisor position They offered it to a black dude, which is odd because he said they don't even hire too many black dudes there. And the black dude said, no, thank you. Wow. Now, what did he know about that position? Like, why not? I think this is a position where he said that white fella had been messing up. So I don't know if this is one where he said, oh, no, you put me in, this white fella been doing God knows what for how long, and you put me in there, and I'm supposed to clean all this madness up, or worse yet, blame it on me. So you did all this, whoa. No thanks, I'm good. Y'all put somebody else in there. Either way, let them clean it up or let them take the blame for it. Either way, I'm good. Dang. Set up, that does happen a lot where they put us in positions where we are set up to fail. He might have thought this is going to be one of those. This is not even designed for me to be successful and be all I can be in this position. I would say, hey, if you see that, hey, dude, I think we've recommended that before. If you think this is one of those old setups where it looks like it's a promotion, wink, wink, but not really. You already can see that, oh man, I'm going to fall flat on my face, man. They done got this white dude that messed the whole, man, no, I'm good. I'm good. This is just going to be one headache after another, like this whole position. I'm good. He said they give it to the FAMU white woman. She can go do whatever, clean up, whatever, with the department. And incidentally, he said this white woman has been rolling. I think he said she's been there in 5 years and it's just been up. And she doesn't even comply with the rules. I don't even follow policy and procedure. I do whatever. I think she was the same one. She was wearing the FAMU and then going around to the segregated section. Hey, you think my shirt is all right? You like the Rattlers, don't you? Hey, you don't say you're gonna tell me I can't wear my Rattler shirt. I think that was her, and she moved right on up the ladder. I would not encourage. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That is 100% correct. And then I wanted to add another detail. She actually tried to say, like, I guess she wanted me to respond, but she said if it would have been a Tim Tebow jersey or a Tim Tebow shirt, they wouldn't say anything. She actually said that.
She might be right, but I mean, and then she's just trying to get you to say something like, come on. Again, why are you over in the segregated section to make your protest about your rule breaking? And really, why don't you go over and tell the clique members all of this? They might rally behind you. Darn, we gonna wear our Tim Tebow tomorrow. Now, we dare him. Say something. Now, we all wear our Tim Tebow tomorrow. Say something. They could have done that because they like being unruly, oppositional. They love that. We're not going to follow. You're not going to boss us around. You don't tell us what to do. She didn't do that. She came over. She would come over to where my Negroes are. See if they got it. Yeah, they'll rally. Like, man, get out of here. Racist suspect, FAMU booster, and all of that. I mean, she moved right up the ladder. That didn't stop her. They didn't put that in her employee file that, she is recalcitrant. We done told her repeatedly. We got policies about sports paraphernalia. That's not management. They didn't say that. She moved right on up the ladder. And that's why I said, I think he said last week, it was a young lady who was there who noted this because it's widespread. Same thing we noted. Dang, these white chicks, they don't follow we got, dress code policy around here. It's in the manual and they don't follow it all. Look at that. I'm going to do the same thing. I dare. Victims guaranteed qualified. Now, you can wear your FAMU shirt if you want to, if you're classified as black. I don't think it's going to work out the same for you. I don't think after 5 years you're going to be promoted and, wow, they got the supervisor position. I think they will put it in your folder like quick, too. Hey, we done told you one time. Show up here again, have that FAMU shirt on. But show up again and have that FAMU shirt on. That's about what I would expect to happen. The side hustle thing, like even now that I have a better grasp of the parameters of this, I'm not sure if I even feel obligated to tell them, like, regardless of what my side, if I had a business, if I did hair, if I did food delivery, if I had a catering business, all of the above. I don't know that I would tell them, now that you've given that like this, whatever it is, if it's some scheme for them to try to get more, whatever, you do not need me. You all can figure it out. You can go get the FAMU chick or whatever. You all can figure it out. You do not need no extra details on what I'm doing on my free time. I'm good, especially not to tell like everybody here like that I'm doing hair. I'm good. I'm good. You all know enough about my business while I'm here, 9 to 5. Thank you. Like, yeah, don't even, I wouldn't even respond to that sort of thing. Like, that doesn't seem like a legal requirement or what have you. That just, it might even just be them being nosy, to see what our niggers up to. How many of them got, you know, doing hair on the side or driving Uber on the side, or who knows. Like, I wouldn't hold my breath on no extra nickels as a result of their query. So, yeah, if you, and plus they do have, like I said, I was talking about the enforcement officers. They do have rules about that in some places where they will say you can't even have a side job. That might jeopardize your employment there. So for lots of reasons, I wouldn't even, you know, say anything about that. Whatever your side hustle is, if you have another job, if you have another business, keep that to yourself. When you're on the job, we're just talking about this job, nothing else. As far as they know, this is the only job you have. Work, and that's that. Now, if it's mandated where you have to report and all that, that's a different thing. But if that's not the case, keep that to yourself and keep it pushing. That even might be another one, because I've seen where white people, boy, they get upset when they find out a black person, like, what? You're making how much money? What? And that could even be, what? You have what? Or you have your own business? What? Keep that. You thought the clique was upset and talking about you before. Shh. Keep all that to yourself. These are not your homies. Generally, these are not even potential clients, probably. So, you know, keep all that to yourself. They don't need to know about your so-called side hustle. That is interesting language. Yeah, interesting language. Even though, like I said, I have heard white people say the phrasing side hustle, but the context. Much obliged, our caller at the courthouse. I do remember Mr. Hayes and the panic button. Anywho's, other folks, I thought hopefully other folks get some sort of, what shall I say, appreciation or some sort of constructive value from hearing some of Mr. Fuller's employee record. If anything, just hearing his meticulous scientific nature over many decades and how he kind of applied that same meticulous focus and thought concentration to counter racism, the consistency, and as well just in terms of for the workplace training and his adherence to policy and procedure, even him making time to study himself so that he was more knowledgeable about policy and procedure. That's something I heard him talk about on a regular basis, something we try to emphasize as well. Lots of great habits with regards to the workplace that Mr. Fuller, we could steal from Mr. Fuller in the workplace to solve some of our problems, keep us out of trouble with regards to workplace and the system of white supremacy. Let's see if other folks, did we miss anything else? Folks want to make sure they get in before we wrap up. Let's see, *61 if you're on the phone line, untiljustice@gmail.com if you have an email. Let's see. Don't see any other emails. Moment to check and make sure I didn't see other hands. Again, now, we should be here Juneteenth, so-called holiday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So if you do not have to be on the plantation for Friday, you can certainly tune in. If you've not been keeping up with the book club, now we are like almost done. We're not going to finish it tomorrow, but we are getting close to, thank God, we are getting close to finishing New Jim Crow, Michelle Alexander. I guess many of you either have the book, read the book, know about the book, whatever. Maybe you already read it. But we are getting close to the finish line. As I said, at least in my view, some of the worst portions of the book will be in tomorrow's section, where she tries to, oh my God, she has one white parent and tries to tell us about white people who are victims of racism. White people like who? White people like her white mama, because they marry a black dude. For June, cosmically aligned. That's what we get to read for Juneteenth. I can't wait. But that's tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, the new Jim Crow, and then we'll do our counter-racist weekly review. As I said, a 1-year-old black child shot and killed in an alleged shoplifting incident. I don't think the 1-year-old was shoplifting. I don't think they said that in the report, but regardless, shoplifting incident alleged at a Walmart in Mississippi that results in a 1-year-old black child being shot and killed. We'll chat it up about that amongst other current events. Counter-racist weekly review this here weekend. All of that said, hey, sobriety would be best for Juneteenth upcoming. Man, be safe if you're going to be traveling, vacation, out on the road, all of that. Like, man, be safe. With that, and make sure you emphasize that for young people, safety, sobriety first for the weekend. That's it. Creator, we ask that you remind us, stop saying not all white people are racist. Remind us, stop name-calling individuals classified as black. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. Cal signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. Problem. You're a victim. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my condition. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.